Lessons from the front.
Today's episode was inspired by a recent event here in Singapore where History Fort Singapore supported Singapore's National Navy Day celebrations. I'm proud to be a member of History Fort Singapore, and several of the team kindly agreed to help out with this project. So a huge thank you to everyone involved. In this episode, we're taking a closer look at one of the most iconic anti-aircraft weapons of the Second World War, a legendary Bofors 40mm quick-firing anti-aircraft gun.
And this particular model was built in 1943.
We'll explore the history behind the weapon, its technical specifications, where it served, and why it became one of the most successful anti-aircraft guns ever built. Then later in the video, we'll see how the Bofors performs on the tabletop using Warlord Games' Bolt Action version 3 rule set, and whether this famous AA gun can still dominate the battlefield in miniature form just as effectively as it did in real life. The story of the Bofors gun begins in Sweden during the interwar years. Developed by the Swedish arms manufacturers Bofors in the early 1930s, the weapon was designed in response to the growing threat posed by the faster and more capable military aircraft of the time. At that time, many of the existing anti-aircraft guns simply couldn't track or engage modern aircraft effectively, especially low-flying attack planes. The result was the 40mm L60 gun, commonly known as the Bofors 40mm. Officially adopted in 1932, it quickly earned a reputation for reliability, excellent firepower, and a remarkably high rate of fire. The gun used 4-round clips fed into the top of the weapon, allowing trained crews to maintain a sustained rate of fire that could fill the sky with high explosive shells. The Bofors fired a 40 by 311mm high explosive shell and had an effective firing rate of roughly 120 rounds per minute, although its theoretical rate of fire was even higher. Depending on the mount and the crew, the gun could engage aircraft at altitudes of around 7,000 meters and had an effective horizontal range of several kilometers. One of the reasons for the Bofors gun's success was its versatility. It could be mounted on static emplacements, towed carriages, trucks, tanks, naval vessels, and even railway platforms. This made it not only useful against aircraft, but also against lightly armored vehicles, infantry positions, and ground targets. During the Second World War, the Bofors became truly global. It was used extensively by the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and many other allied nations, including South Africa, that used it right into the border war. Even Axis powers such as Germany operated captured examples during the war. The United States manufactured the weapon in enormous numbers under license, adapting it for mass production and fitting it to countless ships and vehicles. In naval service especially, the Bofors became one of the Allies' most important defenses against dive bombers and kamikaze attacks in the Pacific War. By the end of the conflict, literally tens of thousands of Bofors guns had been produced worldwide.
And now that we've briefly explored the real-world history behind the Bofors 40mm gun, it's time to see how this legendary weapon performs on the tabletop. To help break down the tactical strengths and weaknesses of the Bofors in the game, I'm joined by my friend Richard, who's going to share his thoughts and experiences using this weapon in Bolt Action version 3. So Richard, over to you.
Hi, I'm back. It's Richard here, and Eugene from Lessons from the Front has asked me to give you a quick review of my thinking behind a heavy autocannon, especially after his recent interview with Bo, and to my pride, my autocannon featured in the video, the Australian version sitting in front of me here. So what does this heavy autocannon give you? First up, 2 shots, which is good. Probably one of its most powerful attributes is got a 72-inch range, which pretty much means if you're on the table, you've got line of sight, you can reach across the whole table end to end. Thirdly, it's got a penetration of +3, which is really good against most armor. I mean, certainly going to pin, but you have the chance to penetrate as well. And it also has a 1-inch template for HE if you're shooting against infantry. Cost is typically 50 points regular. You can go up to 55 if you add a gun shield. Certainly in some armies, like the German army, for example, you can add, but the Bofors, as depicted here, does not have the gun shield option. What are some of the pros? First up, I mentioned the range. And what's more important about that, typically if you shoot over half your range, you lose 1 penetration value. So if you were pen 3, if you're shooting over half range, you'd go down to pen 2. Half range of 72 inches is 36, which means most of the table I'm still getting my pen 3, which is better than a light anti-tank gun because they're only 48-inch range. So if they go to half range, they're still only a 3. Another big advantage of the autocannon, it's on a rotating platform, which means I can put it on ambush, and if somebody comes from my rear, swivels around, shoots there. And I'll come back to that because that's how I use autocannons a lot. Third big advantage is it's anti-aircraft. So if somebody does bring an air observer, you've got a 2-shot. It sounds like, well, that's not enough because if I only get 1 shot, you need 3 to shoot down a plane. Well, bear in mind, every hit is D3. So you have the shot 1 hit, D3, you could bring the plane down with 1 flak shot. And I've actually done that. I've done that with the light autocannon, hit an aircraft, got on 1 hit out of 3 autocannons, rolled a D6, got my 3 hits, plane gone. So big advantage in that space. Some of the cons, the one con of the gun is it's only got the 1-inch template. And if you're choosing it for anti-infantry purposes, the light autocannon is cheaper because it also has a 1-inch template. It's only 40 points and 35 if you don't have a gun shield. And against infantry, why not spend less and just put the same damage out? The other big disadvantage of the heavy versus the light is it cannot be moved once it's on the table. So you can move it onto the table in sort of meeting engagement, but it's fixed thereafter. Obviously, if you've got a transport, you can pick it up and tow it. But again, because it's heavy, you need the heavier transports to be able to move it. So chances are, once it's in position, it's there. How to use it in the game? Generally speaking, to protect flanks and to close down approach lanes. I'm not going to be coming down the road fast with a white scout car, armor 7, if there's a heavy autocannon on ambush. I'm probably in fog of war, not going to come on that edge with my transports if he's loaded AP. If he's loaded HE, yeah, then I might bring my transports on, but again, depends what else is in the game. And as I said, the big advantage is the rotating platform. So the heavy autocannon's there to protect your rear, protect your flanks, and close down lines of approach. Do I use them? Actually, no. My favorite has always been the light autocannon. I've used that in a lot of my competitive German armies, although I am finding there's a shift towards more armor, more heavier armor. And with that shift, I'm finding the light autocannon is no longer really doing its job because people are only debussing after you've tried to shoot your HE at them. Probably all you've done is pin them. They jump out, they attack you, and they take you out. So the heavy autocannon is probably going to be preferred going forward with the emergence of more and more armored formations. Or my other approach, which I'm going to test out with Eugene, is I'm going to take a total infantry army and see what happens there. Otherwise, Eugene, seeing you on Tuesday next week. And to all the viewers, enjoy Lessons from the Front and hope you enjoyed my quick show of the heavy autocannon.
Thank you, Richard. That was really interesting. And thank you to all of you for watching. Please do look out for that after-action report of the game that Richard and I will be playing on Tuesday. Until next time, happy gaming.